Well, hello, readers. I'm so excited to have a new friend on today, Becky Dean. We're going to be talking about an award-winning book that I'm thoroughly enjoying. But Becky, why don't you just start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Becky Dean. I write as Becky Dean and also as BL Dean under my initials. I'm the author of 3 currently published young adult contemporary romances under Becky Dean and a 4-book science fiction series under BL Dean. The first book in that series is the one that recently won the Realm Award. Super excited and
Yay!
grateful for that. I grew up in California, but we live in Texas now, have a husband and a 7-month-old daughter. So that's made this year's writing a little bit different, and unfortunately meant I wasn't able to attend the Realmmakers conference where awards were given out. I had
Oh,
to watch online, but yeah, I love adventure and romance and banter, and so all of my books involve fun settings and romance and some little bit of action adventure type things, and love to write. Banter is my favorite thing. So
I will say that is my favorite thing, listening to it. So I'm listening to the audiobook, and it won. So Rogue Pursuit won the audiobook of the year from Realmmakers, which is amazing because like dozens and dozens of books get nominated or nominated for that, and then yours won.
yeah.
And right away, I'm like cooking dinner and like listening, I'm like, oh, I really like the banter and like the descriptions of stuff, and they're interested, but they're pretending like they're not interested. And it's so fun. So you want to explain what the story is about? And I will say, I love this one line. What was it? It was like what could go wrong? Like, I'm a villain. He's a. Oh, how does it go? You can probably say it better than I can.
I don't know. I wrote it so long ago. I probably
Oh, it
couldn't.
was
I'd
like
have
it
to
was
go
like
find it.
she's like, I'm a villain and he's the law and we're pursuing like my ex-boyfriend. What could go wrong? Or something like
Yes.
that. It was like something like it was so cute. It was just it was awesome. I know it's like, remember that one line that you wrote how many years ago? Go ahead and quote that,
Yeah,
please.
and oh my gosh, I can't even this I wrote this book a long time ago too, so
Oh, did you? Okay, so tell us
Mhm.
about that. Like, first of all, explain the idea, then I would love to hear the backstory behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, so the book, like you mentioned, so the main character is a shipper who uses her family shipping business to also smuggle goods to the colonies, and she teams up unwillingly with a spy, who represents the law enforcement, obviously, when an agent goes rogue with a list of people who are working for the underground, and so her name is on that list, and he happens to be her
Mhm.
ex, the rogue agent who has gone missing, and his former partner is the one who's now trying to find him also. So they both have connections to the rogue spy, and they're trying to follow his trail across the galaxy, and there's fun planets and space stations and all kinds of things, and other spies and agents on their trail also. And they, of course, are attracted to each other, but since they're on opposite sides of a revolution that's brewing in the galaxy, that's kind of an impossible romance situation. And yeah, what I love about the galaxy is the wormholes. So they travel from
I
planet to
know.
planet through colorful but dangerous wormholes. And so that was a really fun system to create. So I actually wrote this book, oh my gosh, probably 2016 or 17, long time ago.
Oh, okay.
Um, I was signed with an agent at the time, but then that didn't work out. And so this is the book that landed me my current agent, who's amazing. And, but she represents science fiction, fantasy, young adult romance, all kinds of stuff.
Right.
And so she wanted my romance books as well. So this was the only book that was finished because first in the series, you never know if someone's going to want it. I had
Right.
kind of rough ideas, but not really for where I wanted to go next. And we had this book on sub. We had my first young adult contemporary romance book on sub. We had 2 other science fiction books out at the same time. And in 2020, we got a call from Aethon Books, who published this series, who
Uh-huh.
wanted this book, but they wanted it as a series. And then from Delacorte Press, which does my romances, that wanted my first young adult romance book. We got those 2 calls within 2 weeks of each other.
Ah, I was
So it was
like, wow.
kind of after, I don't know, 10 or 15 years of writing and seeking traditional publication, everything just kind of happened all at once. It was one of those like God doing more than you could ever have imagined all at once kind of things.
Aw.
And
Yeah.
so Aethon wanted a series. So I had a very rough idea, but didn't really know where it was going. But I was obviously like, yes, I'll turn it into a 4-book
Of
series.
course, I will make it
um,
that. Why? Yeah.
and then after I finished the 3rd book, they do rapid release. So they wanted all of them finished before the first one would come out. And so after I finished writing the third one, I was like, why didn't I do a trilogy? Why did I say 4 books?
Right. What's gonna
um,
happen now?
but I knew what was going to happen. It was just more like, oh, this is a lot to write in a very short amount of time. So the first contemporary romance came out in 2022. This whole series came out last year in 2023, along with my second contemporary romance book. So that was a wild year of 5 books in about 3 months, 3 or 4 months
Oh
coming out.
my goodness. Okay, this is
So
not normal, folks, for
no.
readers. Like, this is not normal. And I just looked it up. Like, your contemporaries look so cute.
Oh, thank you.
Like, so, so cute. And we will talk about that in a minute because I have to hear more about those. But what was it like? Okay, all of a sudden, I mean, I love these characters,
Mhm.
and at first, it's probably like super exciting to know, like, oh, I get to go explore more. And I'm glad you mentioned the wormholes because I was going to
Mhm.
ask about them because it's like so cool, like rainbow wormholes that they travel through. But as you're going along, like, what unexpected things happened? I mean, you don't have to tell us like everything, but was there more like danger or romance, or how did things play out when it came to the series?
Yeah, so this series is a little bit unique. There are actually a few other young adult series that do this. There are 2 new main characters in each book. So
Okay.
book one is main characters are Perrin and Ty, and they appear in book 2 and 3 and 4. But each book has 2 new main characters. So each book has a central couple, a central romance that advances the overarching plot, and then all of the characters appear. So by the end of the fourth book, all 8 characters are together and working together and
Oh,
helping. So
fun.
it was a lot of fun. When I came to book 2, I thought about continuing Perrin and Ty, but when you get to the middle, I won't give too many spoilers. They meet a space pirate, and he was too much fun to write. And so he was like, "When you write a second book, I'm the main character of the second book. I'm sorry, but I
That
have
I'm
to
just
be."
taking over. I'm like
And he took
Robin
over.
and yeah.
Yeah, and so he's Perrin is my favorite because she came first, but Digger's also kind of my favorite because he's a space pirate and he's amazing.
A space
So
pirate sounds amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
but then like you said, kind of trying to write 4 books, and it was fun because then the central romance was new in each one. So Perrin and Ty are obviously the enemies to lovers kind of thing, and
Hmm.
the second book they're kind of the opposites attract. He's a flashy space pirate, and she's a hacker who's not impressed with his, you know,
Oh,
his
yeah.
antics. And the second one is, or the third one is childhood best friends who have been estranged and are now forced back together. And then the third one is another sort of opposite sides kind of thing. So that was really fun to get to do a different romance in each one because I like writing romance, obviously. But then kind of upping in each one, right? The stakes, the action, what action scenes have I already done? What planets have I already created? What danger have I
Mhm.
already put them in? And how can I keep each book fresh and have them face new challenges and be in new situations? And I love writing settings. And so trying to keep the planets new and different in every one. And
And
so
that is like, so it's not, you're just not even just having to come up with a romance and different occupations. Like,
mhm.
she's a baker, he's a mailman, or whatever.
My
Like,
Google
these are new.
my Google searches are a little bit shadier than
Yeah,
than mailman and
exactly.
baker because they're spies and smugglers and pirates and hackers and
Yeah, and then whole new worlds that you're
Mhm.
creating, like,
Yeah.
oh, which is so fun. It's fun, but then also have you been like, "Okay, what is going on in this world? What are the rules of this world? What does this world look like?" Do you ever get lost in that?
No, I'm pretty big on record keeping, so I have all of
Good.
the files of each planet and what goes on there. And I tried because I did the wormholes as sort of my, I don't know, unique element in this plot. I tried not to recreate too many other things, so they have
Mhm.
standard fantasy ships and blasters and stun guns and things like that without, you know, I think that readers can get overwhelmed if you try to make everything new and different. So I tried to keep the wormhole sort of the central fun new element, and then everything else is kind of straight up space opera. So
Yeah. So I was listening. So my husband and my sons actually love sci-fi, like, and my daughter too, but they would watch all the old Star Trek and
mhm.
Stargate and all the things. And they're like, you need to read this book. You need to read. I'm like, I don't read speculative fiction. And then I went to Realm Makers with
I
my
was gonna say
son
now you
because
write it.
I know I write it, and I love it, and so I'm totally telling my husband, I'm like, "You have to." I got Rogue Pursuit, and I said, "You have to listen to it, it's so fun." I'm like telling my husband to read this, like, teenage, like, romancy. I'm like, "You're gonna love this book." He's like, "Okay," and he's, like, putting it so it's downloaded on his phone,
Nice.
and I'm like, "Who have I become?" But this is also really cool, and it's
Thank you.
super fun, and I love the book, and he's gonna love the book too.
Thank you.
We
It's been
share
fun to hear
yeah.
from readers because a lot of readers who like, YA science fiction really like it because it has the romance and the banner, but I've heard from lots of just science fiction fans too who can put up with the teenage
Yeah.
romance for the science fiction elements. So
Yeah. Well, we have 10 children and 7 daughters, so the teenage romance is not gonna surprise them.
he's
All
used
the
to that.
drama. Yeah, so fun. Okay, want to hear about your contemporary romances too,
Mhm.
because they look super cute. So how many are out there? Tell us the titles, all the things.
Yeah,
Which one should I read first? Because I'm literally gonna download one tonight because I want to read it.
there are 3 published, and I'm actually doing the cover reveal for the 4th one later this month. I'm super excited.
Ooh.
It's amazing. So the first one's called Love and Other Great Expectations,
Mhm.
and it's set in England. So they're all travel rom-coms is kind of my brand.
Love it.
Um, and it's a girl on a literary themed scavenger hunt that takes her to the sites of classic novels throughout England. So that was super fun to write. The main character is a soccer player who's not into reading, and so it was fun to write a character who most of us would love a trip like that to go visit,
Yeah.
Oxford and all of these, places in England, Bath and London and Scotland, and based on our favorite books. And for her, it's not quite so quite so fun, but she needs the money, and so she meets a cute British boy, obviously, and
Oh,
so
of course.
that's the first one.
Well, I just bought it right now on Amazon as I'm talking to you because it sounds amazing.
People always ask your favorite, and you don't really have a favorite book. It's maybe usually the one I'm currently working on, but that's because that was my first one published after so many years. So that one's kind of my fond
I love it.
place in
I
my
love
heart.
it.
The second one is set in Hawaii, and so it's a girl. It's called Picture Perfect Boyfriend, and it's about a girl who makes up a fake boyfriend to try to impress her family, and then a stranger shows up on their family vacation pretending to be the boyfriend, and she has to figure out who he is. And how he knows about the fake boyfriend while also pretending to be in a relationship with him in front of her
Oh
family for
my
a week in
gosh!
Hawaii.
Wait, I just bought the other one. Now I want this one too. Okay. That
So
sounds
that one,
awesome.
yeah. Um, and then the third one just came out in July this year. That one's called Hearts Overboard, and it's a rivals to lovers set on an Alaskan cruise ship. A girl suffers a really public breakup where she gets labeled boring, and so she decides to use the family cruise to Alaska to prove that she can be fun and exciting by trying a bunch of adventurous things and get some unexpected help from her longtime nemesis.
Ooh. Okay,
So
that sounds super fun. Okay. How in the world did you come up with all these ideas? And you said you've been writing a long time. You look so young.
mhm.
I mean, it's so
Thank you.
cool.
I'm
Like,
older than I
have
look,
you?
but yeah.
I know. Have you always wanted to write? Like, what
Mhm.
would that has that journey been like?
Yeah, I started saying when they ask what you want to be when you grow up, I started saying author in second grade. And then kind of forgot about it through college. You just get busy, life and everything. And a
Mhm.
few years after college, really started thinking, I think I want to try to write a novel. And so, being the overachiever I am, spent a year reading books from the library on how to write a novel
Oh, I love it.
until it's one of the few times in my life I've felt God kind of speaking audibly, and I just heard him
Mhm.
say, "Write." Stop thinking about it, stop planning, and just actually go try to do it. Um, so I wrote 4 young adult, some version of speculative science fiction fantasy books, and did a little bit of querying, did a lot of ACFW conferences and critique groups, and learned a lot. Ended up shelving all 4 of those. And then the 5th one, I thought, I'm going to try a contemporary book. And I love road trips. I love travel. So let's make it sort of a road trip travel contemporary. So it still feels like a quest, kind of
Yeah,
fantasy
yeah.
like. And so that's what became Love and Other Great Expectations. And then since then, I've just kind of done a mix of whatever science fiction and contemporary romance strikes my fancy. And yeah, it's been a long journey. I have still 3 finished books that are not published yet that my agent's looking for homes for,
Okay.
and so hopefully those, and
There might be more soon. And
maybe more
don't
soon. We'll
let
see.
anyone tell you you only have to write in one genre because I don't believe that's
Yeah,
true.
I don't either, obviously,
Yeah. Yeah,
but
and
yeah,
I
it's
think I
it's.
think readers like all kinds. Like I'm enjoying Rogue Pursuit and I just bought your other one. So I think we just think that can only be known for one thing. This is my personal opinion, but obviously yours too. But we like to explore. And I like how you said like it's a quest. Like the even your contemporary one has the same kind of feel to it. And so that's great.
And I feel like both genres have the elements that I love, right? So it's the settings, whether in sci-fi it's the planets, or in the contemporaries it's the travel aspects, and then they all have the romance, and my favorite, like you mentioned, the banter, and sort of a little bit of adventure. So the travel, obviously, there's always an adventure involved. And, the 4th one that comes out next summer is called Love Unmasked, will be unmasking the cover this month.
Oh,
I felt
yay.
super clever coming up with that, which really isn't that
Yeah.
clever. um, and it's set in Venice, so
Ooh,
got to do
yeah.
a research trip for that last year. My first official. I had done a little bit of research for other ones, but not really like just went solely to do research. So that was really fun too. So,
And that's the best part. It's like, I want to go here. Let me think what book I could set around it. Or if you're someplace like I was in Key West, just in January.
mm,
No, maybe it was last. I don't know. Within the last year, and I'm like, I want to write a pirate book, and I end up writing a pirate novella. It's like
nice.
it's so fun to,
Key West, we went, oh gosh, 2 or 3 years ago, and I came away with a whole sci-fi spin-off series for Shades of Starlight that if I ever have time to write is going to be inspired by the
yes,
wreckers and pirates in Key West. So
yes, yes. It's so. Did you go to the Marine Museum, the
yeah, and
museum
then
where it showed
I
all
went
the.
out to Dry Tortugas National Park, which was amazing. So
Yeah, yeah. We were
yeah.
supposed to sail on a antique schooner. Is that how you
Oh,
say it?
cool.
Schooner.
Yeah.
And a storm came in and we had to
Oh,
cancel it.
that
We still
sucks.
have a credit there. So next
Next
time we're
time
in
you
Key
make it back
West,
to Key West, right?
we get it free because we prepaid and we're like, just we'll come back because we do
Yeah.
like to come probably every couple of years to Key West is
Nice.
one of our favorite places.
Nice.
So yeah, and that's the great thing is like taking real life and weaving fiction around it. And yes, this is like the sci-fi stuff. It's out of this world, obviously, but like the elements of, you know, lost family members or pain in the
Mhm,
past or feeling like you've been betrayed. Like all of
mhm,
these things are like the emotional depth to it, the banter. It doesn't make it seem like I just remember watching
mhm,
Star Trek or those with my
mhm.
husband and my kids, and they're just like all into. I'm like, his face is painted green. Like that is obviously a puppet coming out of that hole in the ground. So for me, like, and then they just like got caught up in that world. And when I'm watching it, I'm just like, really, guys? Like,
But like you said though,
fucking,
it's about the connection. So like
yes.
my sci-fi series is really about a bunch of young people who are caught up in this brewing revolution and they come from
Hmm.
various sides and backgrounds and they all want to do the right thing, but because of the way they've been brought up and their circumstances, what the right thing is looks different for all of them and they're all kind of struggling with what is the right thing to do in this situation and who am I loyal to and why and how do I navigate using my skills. I really love in the third book, the main character is a professional athlete, and her kind of life mantra is she's super popular. Everybody in the galaxy loves her. So she has this platform. And if she doesn't, she's been blessed. So if she doesn't use that to be a blessing to others and help others when she can, then what's the point? And so that's kind
Mm,
of, it's set in outer space, but those are things that all of us hopefully can think about is what we would do in those situations or when we want to do what's right, but we're not sure what it is. And
yeah, that's so good. So, how much of yourself do you find in your characters? Like,
yeah, I think I'm a little bit of me in all of them, but still not. I don't know. I think one of the questions for your newsletter was which character am I most like, and kind of all, but
yeah,
also none. I try to
yeah.
really early on in my writing, I studied personality types, and it was really helpful to not make
Hmm.
them all sound like me, to
Hmm.
make them make different decisions than I would make, to be their own people. So the main character in the first contemporary, her name is Britt, and she's an athlete, and she's pretty much the opposite of me in every way. So it was really fun to write like what would I do in this situation? Britt would do something very different. So here's what I would
The
do. Let's have
opposite,
her do the
yeah.
exactly the opposite of what I would do. Um, but there still is parts of her. She loves soccer. She comes to appreciate the value of literature and how you can learn from classic books and things like that. So, and she loves the adventure of travel. So I kind of put a little bit
Mhm.
of myself in all of them in that sense, I guess. So,
Yeah, yeah, and I think part of it too. I'm teaching a writing class, so I'm talking about this twice a week with high schoolers. Is like you need to think the things that are important to you. The themes are kind of like even though if the character, like you said, is
mhm,
opposite, there if there's something that resonates with you, things that you really enjoy, or ways that you see the world. If your character has that in relation, like
mhm,
they could be completely opposite in appearance or
mhm,
in like maybe they're want to be on stage and you would just hate to be on stage, but what would be the core thing that connects? I
mhm,
think that's what you're saying. Like there's these little elements that are definitely me in them, and I think that's
mhm,
what makes it also seem real. When I mean I just started listening and immediately just like cared about these people,
mhm.
which it's just weird because they're on a different planet and she's like smuggling stuff and like why should I care about these people? But there was something that just resonated with me.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think it is cool when we can see, like, oh, I really like this. Because there has to be an interest, right, of ours that
Hmm.
gets us to want to do these things or explore these or the quest that you're talking
Hmm.
about or the
Yeah.
witty banter. And that just can carry whether you're writing speculative fiction or
Hmm.
contemporary teen romance.
Hmm.
It's just fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do
So
love
are
the
there,
banter.
oh,
They actually, my editor for my contemporaries has to occasionally say, cut it down a little bit because there's a
oh,
little
really?
bit, which she's usually right, but
Yeah. No, don't cut down the banter. It's so
there's
fun.
still plenty.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're like, okay, no, it really
It was
needs to
fair.
come
Yeah.
out. So are there any other genres that you want to write, or do you think these are going to be the two that you're going to like kind of settle on?
Yeah, I think these are my favorites. I've tried a few fantasy books over the years, and I think I've only finished a couple of them maybe. And there's something about it that it just when I set it in space, it seems to go better.
Oh,
I don't
well,
know if
that's
it's the
good.
technology versus the magic or what, but I do love to read fantasy, so I wouldn't mind maybe one day writing fantasy. Um, Rogue Pursuit actually started, it was going to be an Agatha Christie and space type novel because I
Oh,
love to
fun.
read Agatha Christie type
Yes.
mysteries. And when I started writing it, it was like, yeah, this probably isn't my genre to write. So,
It's
um,
complicated. Mysteries
yeah,
are like you have to plant all
I
the
had all kinds
clues
of
and
charts and everything, and it just was not, yeah, working. So,
it
fantasy would
wasn't
probably
going
be
to
the
work.
only other one I would eventually maybe love to try. But
Yeah. Agatha Christie, so when you get to the end of it, you're like, I need to start that again because it makes
yeah,
sense. But how did I miss all these things before?
and she's not really leading you to try to solve it necessarily. Like she's kind of trying to trick you, not like some,
Right.
but she's brilliant still.
Yeah. Okay. Also, you just mentioned like a new baby. How do you
Mhm.
balance writing and all these book releases
So
and
far,
being a mom
badly.
now? I know it's
Yeah, so far, no. There's no balance. There's just baby. No, actually, I'm really grateful. My book that comes out next summer, the Venice one, we finished all of the major developmental edits in the spring right before she was born. And so since
okay.
she was born, I've just done the copy edits and the final proofread for that book. So that wasn't too bad. And pretty much all I've written a few random chapters here or there for some new ideas and a short story that's coming out in an anthology next year, and that's it. So
Yeah.
about to start diving into a novel for real that I'm gonna actually finish now at 7 months. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how
It's
that
all
balance goes.
consuming though. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
all
I
consuming
really
and
wanted to get back to it sooner. This is by far the longest break I've taken from writing since I started. Usually it's finish a book and dive right into the next one, and my agent's like, "Calm down. I
yeah.
haven't sold the last one. Chill out. Stop sending me new manuscripts." No, she's not really. She's fabulous, but yeah, this is really the longest, and I thought I would get back to it sooner. And baby, kind of, yeah, that didn't happen.
Yeah. But it's also something you would never want to miss all that
Yeah,
time and
yeah.
yeah. I love it. Okay. I always love to ask what is a novel that Christian novel that you've enjoyed? It could be like something
Yeah.
you read recently or like an all-time favorite. I love to hear.
Ooh, all-time favorite. I don't know. That'd be hard to think about. Recently, one of my favorite series has been Candace Cade's Enhanced.
Oh yeah.
She is a friend. She used to live in Austin. She just moved, and I was super bummed about that. We used to hang out for writing dates.
Oh.
But it's young adult science fiction with Enclave, which is the big
Hmm.
Christian sci-fi fantasy publisher, and it's just really
Hmm.
cool. She does because I love settings. She does an amazing job at set in futuristic China, and just the technology is really cool, and it feels very immersive. The setting, and so I love that about her books, and they're just really fun. Lots of action, and I got to read an early copy of the third one, which comes out next year. So
Ooh,
readers are going to love the ending if they liked the first two. So
yeah, and she's such a cool person too.
she is
Like, just
wonderful.
I love it. All right. Well, where can readers go to get more information about you and all of your books?
Yes. I have combined social media accounts, so if you don't mind a little bit of contemporary, a little bit of sci-fi all mixed together, I'm mostly on Instagram, Becky Dean Writes, and then beckydeanwrites.com is my website, and I have a newsletter that you can get to from either of those with monthly-ish updates and
Depending
the
on baby.
usually monthly, sometimes a little bit more actually. I'll be doing a
Okay.
second one in October for the a little advance peek of the cover reveal for my new contemporary book. So
Yeah. I'm one of the readers that I don't mind if it's every week. I just love hearing the updates and all the
I
things.
like
So,
writing them. I've switched to Substack recently, which I know a lot of authors have, and it's kind of a more blog like platform. So I've had fun, kind of not just here's my books, buy this, buy this, buy this, but
mhm.
just I don't know, rambling a little bit about life and writing and thoughts and stuff like that. So
Oh, so cool. I'm gonna have to check it out. Well, thank you, Becky, for being here. Also, go check out Rogue Pursuit. It won the audiobook of the year from Railmakers, and I am really, really enjoying it, and I know you'll love it. So make sure you check it out, and all the links that you just mentioned will be in the show notes. But thank you, Becky, so much for being here.
yeah, thank you for having me.